I thought I had it, and then I got camera shy, and
What the hell was
the
that?
lights. I was trying to do like the CBS, the March Madness intro, you know.
That was awful.
It was terrible. Oh, it was bad.
Yeah.
Don't do that ever
Honestly,
again.
I would try for copyright just to say never do that again if I was CBS.
Well, that's why I hummed it, because I would have just played the tune, but I didn't. I don't want to get sued for copyright. So, welcome back, Ethan. Ethan is back in the in the lakes of Minnesota from his trip to the hills
From
of
the
Tennessee.
hills of Tennessee.
No, the guy
Yeah.
said it great. It's not the 10,000 lakes. It's not the state of 10,000 lakes anymore. It's the state of 10,000 potholes. And my God, I firmly endorse this.
So it's like 20,000 lakes now, according to you Minnesotans.
After it rains.
So
hey,
what
do you mean, you Minnesotans?
you
Stupid
are
dog.
Minnesotans. Oh, Grant hates dogs. He also hates the troops here. Things we should just start making a list. I have basically redesigned my podcast studio here. If you guys can't tell, got a few more things before it is completely finished. Hopefully, get those hung up this weekend here while the March Madness games are not going on. We have the bracket set. Some teams got in, some teams didn't. There are some conspiracy theories about CBS and the Mountain West Conference getting some teams in over the Fox Big East teams. That is up for debate. But we're going to be going through every March Madness game. We're going to be going over some upsets and some things that we might be staying the course or going as chalk, as they call it in the business. But before we do that, here we're gonna finish our recap here of episode 9 and 10 of the Dynasty New England Patriots that was streaming on Apple TV. And just when you think you can cancel the Apple TV subscription, you find something new to watch. Which I don't know, Grant. I know you're a bit of a history buff, or enjoy history, I think. But they currently at the moment they have a like a docu-series. It's called Manhunt, about catching John Wilkes Booth after he murdered Abraham Lincoln, that I have fallen into now, and new episode out is gonna be out on Friday.
Interesting.
I want one on Hitler.
There's plenty out there.
You just gotta find them.
Yeah, well, they tried. Tom Cruise was in one of them. But that movie was not as good as I was hoping for. Valkyrie. That one was a bit of a disappointment. One of his worst movies that he's been in here. But episodes 9 and 10, it really centers around the final 3 seasons. Really, the 2 of the last 3, the 17 and 18 seasons within the New England Patriots, where after they complete the 28-3 comeback, Tom talked about how he was, he wanted, after winning that, he wanted to kind of set out and what he wanted to do, play till he was in his mid-40s. And it was a bit of where he felt he had the monkey lifted off his back, where he started worrying less about Bill's opinion. And that was when kind of the Brady brand took off. He was doing a lot more interviews. He was willing to talk more about what it was like in New England. Bill kind of felt like he was separating from the team, from team first all the time, which is what created the tension, along with Brady sending a lot of his teammates to go and work with his trainer, Alex Guerrero, which Brady talks about how if he doesn't think if he finds Alex Guerrero or starts working with him, he probably he definitely doesn't play till he's 45. He might not have even played till he's 35.
I don't think, Dylan, had he not found Guerrero, he doesn't come back from the ACL. Especially after he rushed it the first time and got that infection and had to go in for another surgery. I don't think Brady's body lasts, and I think his shoulder, after all those throws, hundreds of thousands of throws from New England to the offseason to Michigan to high school, if he doesn't have Guerrero in his plyometric training, he doesn't come back. And the second part of this Patriots dynasty doesn't happen. And who knows, maybe the Steelers are the team of the 2010s. Well, maybe we don't have a team of the 2010s, but I'm a firm believer after seeing this and after everything Tom has said about TB12 over these last couple of years, if it wasn't for Guerrero, the second half of this Patriots dynasty doesn't happen. And a lot of the players they talked to in these two episodes, Devin McCourty, Matthew Slater, Julian Edelman, Rob Gronkowski, we don't know who they are because the Patriots are not who they were as an organization.
Yeah, well, and in the building, it definitely they talk about it really didn't feel like it was. They said Gronk described it as it was two parents fighting with each other, like the nonstop fighting, the tension. It just puckered your butthole, as Gronk would say. But at the same time, it was they were still winning. They were still playing together. They were still winning, and it was still about doing your job. And then they find themselves in the Super Bowl, and he was like, well, there is this tension, but them continuously winning and finding ways to pull games out, it kept them building to what their goal was eventually wanting to repeat as Super Bowl champions. And then we get to Super Bowl 52, where it is in Minneapolis with the Eagles versus the Patriots, and the night before the game. And this is the disappointing, and I was hopeful that we were going to find this out, but I also was realistic where I didn't think we were gonna. I felt like there was too much hype around it where it was like, they're really not gonna expose this. But Malcolm Butler was benched the night in Super Bowl 52. He played one play in that game. He found out the night before that he wasn't going to play. They go right after they go to Butler, they go to Josh McDaniels and they ask him about it. I'd be curious to hear Matt Patricia's take on this.
Patricia and Flores.
Yes, because they weren't in this documentary. Really, Belichick shut it down right away. Malcolm Butler just kind of laughed. He's like, I don't know. I still don't know to this day why I didn't play. And really the only intel that we got out of it was Kraft heard it was something non-football related between Bill and Malcolm, which, I mean, you can speculate all you want. The only thing that I think that maybe Malcolm Butler slept with Bill's girlfriend at the time. Like, I don't know what would be why he would bench him. Bill said he was doing what was, and this is where Kraft kind of started to feel the rift between him and Belichick and the team was, Bill's calling card was doing what was in the best interest of the team and putting personal vendettas aside, and Bill didn't do it. And they end up losing the game. I thought it was interesting that McDaniels said that early on in the game. He said that, like, I felt that the way our offense was going, we were going to be able to score every possession, and all we had to do was, if they could just get one stop from the defense, they would have won. And they talk about guys on the defense is sitting there, they're struggling, they can't get off the field, and they're all looking over like, why isn't Malcolm in the game?
Well, and when you have a corner who played 98% of your defensive snaps all year before that, and Malcolm Butler, and then all of a sudden the night before or the day of the Super Bowl, you're going to tell him, hey, you're not going. But you're not going to tell your leaders on defense. You're not going to tell the vocal leader of that defense in Devin McCourty. You're not going to tell Kyle Van Noy. You're not going to tell Stephon Gilmore, his first year in New England. Like, you bring Gilmore in before that 17 season, and you got to feel like you have the best corner tandem in the NFL.
And who was that other corner on the opposite side with Butler in that game? I can't even think of him.
Was it something Arrington?
Maybe, but he was also that's who Butler.
That's who he replaced.
Took over for in Super Bowl 49. Yeah.
I don't know who it was, but it was just an absolute malpractice part on Belichick, and his ego got in the way. And I think Danny Amendola is 100% right when he said he felt like they got cheated out of a Super Bowl. And go back to what Devin McCourty said. Belichick doesn't even have the nerves to tell the rest of his secondary before. Of course they're going to get out there and get absolutely destroyed. Being in the secondary is all about having confidence in the guy across the field for you and communication. This guy coming off the bench who replaced Butler probably never played with these guys. They didn't have a cohesion. He didn't know how to communicate with them. Belichick's ego totally got in the way there and cost this team at the time a chance to go back-to-back. So it's a serious black eye on Belichick's legacy because this is just unacceptable. And for him to, when the question is asked, to keep it so close to his chest and essentially have that skeleton in his closet, like what Ernie Adams did with Spygate, you can't tell me something didn't happen. So that after seeing this, that will forever tarnish a little bit of Belichick's legacy in my eyes because that's unacceptable. 98% of your plays he was on the field for this year, and all of a sudden before the biggest game of your life at the time or the season, you take him out there because you disagreed with you on something? Give me a break, Bill. Let him play in the Super Bowl and cut him after the game. Let him walk. But don't take him out right now and ruin your team's legacy because of this. Get out of here.
Yeah, and then the season ends and Danny Amendola leaves, and you don't see it too. You didn't see it too often, but he leaves. They kind of posts on Instagram. Has a post on Instagram, kind of thanking the Patriots, but excited to be where. What did he go to? Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee to team up with Vrabel.
Yeah, and Gronk left a comment about being free and being happy, and then Tom comments on it and adds, well said, Gronk. And then we go into episode 10 and talking about, it opens with Jim Gray interviewing Tom, asking if he feels appreciated being in New England. And Tom, very telling, says he pleads the fifth. And going into that 18 season, Tom and Giselle went over to Robert's house and talked about how they didn't feel appreciated and said that, in between Tom and Bill, there were some things that were said that can't be unsaid and can't be undone. And it got so bad to the point where Kraft was willing to work it out for Tom to leave.
Hypothetically speaking, where would he have gone? Or would they have traded him? They ain't going to cut him. What would have happened? Realistically, where would Tom have gone if he would have left the Patriots because it got that
in
bad?
2018, I'm trying to think who needed a quarterback. Well, they weren't going to. I doubt they would trade him to the Jets. That one's out of the question.
Not a chance.
In 2018, well, Eli was still there, but he was at the end of his run.
There's no way they're trading him to the Giants, though, after they beat them twice in the Super Bowl.
Yep. Washington had just traded for Alex Smith. But, man, that is a good question. Tennessee, maybe, to be with Vrabel? I could see that potentially being something.
You know what? I don't think they do him a favor and throw him anywhere in the AFC. I honestly feel it would have been an NFC team. And hell, who knows? Maybe he would have gotten his start in Tampa Bay a couple years early.
Could have. And but with that actually got in the end, Tom decided to stay, but on one condition is that Alex Guerrero was granted access back to traveling with the team and going with the team and being able to work with whoever he wanted to work. And in Kraft's time of owning the Patriots, that was really the only time he says he ever really got involved on personnel decisions. I think that only heightened the tension because Bill obviously was not going to like that.
Mm-hmm.
And with Tom going over Bill's head. And I can't remember who said it, but they said that the tension between the two, that actually pushed them to perform their best. which it makes sense because when you're the two of the greatest at they're at their crafts, they're out there, they're basically trying to prove each other wrong and outduel each other. And Kraft hoped that it would fix Tom and Bill's relationship. And it really wasn't, because it was to the point where Matthew Slater, longtime Patriot, would have to be the middleman. He was like, "No, Tom, I'm not going to go talk to Bill about something. You got to go talk to him." And it was basically like a silent relationship.
Mm-hmm. Well, you saw the video in the Super Bowl when Brady was talking about some coverage the Rams were running, and he said, "Oh, Jackson's their nickel," and then Belichick wanted to correct him and say, "No, it's not Jackson, it's some other guy," and Tom walked away. He didn't want to listen to it. And you could see Bill's reaction, like, "Okay, well, this fucker's not going to listen to me. He's just going to walk away. Okay, whatever."
Yeah, and that Super Bowl, that was one of Belichick's greatest coaching performances. I don't think there's any way of disputing that. I mean, holding the Rams to 3 points and throwing out a coverage with only 2 weeks to prepare, changing from man over to zone because he realized that the Rams and Goff have struggled in zone coverage. And Belichick said they felt they had a good game plan, and goes back to the Eisenhower quote that is, "Preparation is great, but once the battle begins, you have to fight the battle."
Mm-hmm.
And after they win and hold them to the Super Bowl, I think that was Bill's way of saying that, holding a high-powered offense like the Rams were that year, that defense can still win games. And Bill reestablished himself in Kraft's eyes, but in the end, it still really didn't matter. Brady didn't want to go through it again, and he felt that it was time to move on. And they asked they asked Robert that if Tom were to leave, or if Bill would have left, would Tom have stayed in New England? And without any hesitation at all, Kraft says that yes, Tom would have retired a Patriot. And we do have some breaking news. Blake Snell has signed with the Giants, 2 years, $62 million, but
has an opt-out after a year. It's a 1-year deal.
Well, Dylan, what's interesting is that Super Bowl, in a way, sure, the Patriots, they won, they got 6. That's two dynasties in one. But in a way, that almost hurt their organization more, because then Tom, for sure, like you said he was leaving. And had the Patriots not played well against the Rams, it sounds like Kraft was going to get ready to fire Belichick to move on and keep Brady. And Bill, making the awesome adjustments that he did, helping the Patriots win that Super Bowl, kind of gave him a second chance at head coaching career in New England, when Kraft was like, "You know what? I'm not going to find anyone better than this guy. He is incredible." So success in the short term, but in the long term, definitely brought the Patriots organization back.
Yeah. And then they talk about the meeting that all three, that Robert, Tom, and Bill had over at the Kraft's house, and they said it. I mean, it was emotional. I think you can't undo, or you can't, look back with some sort of fondness about what those two did in their time in New England. It was emotional, but in the end, they said it was the right time. They both had to move on. Relationship. Tom said that relationships are imperfect, but they were still incredibly proud of the journey, and I still think there's still respect and love for each other, but when they both knew it was time to move on, and being able to go on a run that they did for 20 years, it's incredible. There were times winning, it's not easy. It's difficult, and staying at that level, I think as a coach, you have to develop that sort of rigidness, that sort of attitude, or kind of turn into being an asshole to keep guys in line, because to get guys to buy in and continue having that sustained success, it's it's tough, especially at that level when everybody's gunning for you. Jimmy Johnson talked about it in the same way, where towards the end of his time in Dallas, that he didn't like the person he was becoming because he was always the crabby, the grumpy coach, because he felt that there were guys that were just that they got their Super Bowl, but they were more so chasing after the check instead of chasing after a Super Bowl.
And Dylan, the one thing I found very interesting when they were talking to players about how they reacted and how they felt when Tom left New England, Danny Amendola had a very subtle shot at Belichick there when he goes, "Well, yeah, you could have had Johnny from Foxborough High School say it was a bad decision to let Tom go." And I say that was a subtle shot because whenever in team meetings, if a Patriots receiver would drop a pass, Belichick would go, "Jesus Christ, Johnny from Foxborough High School could have caught this pass. What are we doing, Amendola?" So in this documentary, he spun it back to give his shot at Belichick there, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. Well, Danny Amendola had a couple of, he said they felt cheated, and it was they cost him a Super Bowl ring, but it was I still stand by that. I wish they would have done it about 20 years later instead of 5 or 4, because 24, yeah. So it was filmed 4 years after Tom left New England. So I think, to get that true, I think where everybody's removed from it, everything kind of the time heals all wounds, where you can speak a little bit more freely, not worried about the repercussions of things that were said. I think it would have been nicer for them to do it a little bit, wait a little bit longer. But I've also heard that this was, Robert, a way for them producing this was a way to try to get Kraft into the Hall of Fame. I don't know if there's any truth to that, but I've heard that's why it's they don't really make Kraft look bad in any light.
Well, they had an interesting time to do it, especially after his NFLPA grade came out, and as an owner, he got an F.
Yeah, well, so did the Hunt family. So,
but I mean, this is just me. But sure, I know owners own teams and yada yada yada. You shouldn't be putting an owner in the Hall of Fame. That's just me.
Well, there's plenty in there, so.
I'm not saying.
But I mean, that's also like back in the day too. Is that a lot of the owners of teams were also the coaches, GMs. Like Al Davis was a coach, owner, GM. Jerry Jones, which that's a discussion for another day. Paul Brown, for example. You look back at the early origins of the NFL. A lot of those owners, or Curly Lambeau, was a coach, player, GM, and now the Packers have everybody's an owner. All you got to do is spend a little bit of money, and you can get a sheet that says you're an NFL owner.
Good for them.
But I digress here. We can. It is March Madness. The tournament kicks off actually, it kicks off. It's already kicked off by the time you're going to be hearing this, with the first 4 games over in Dayton. A little bit disappointed we didn't get an all Patino matchup in Dayton. I thought that would have been a great way to kick off the 2024 NCAA tournament, but there's always next year. So, guys, we've got the East, West, South, and Midwest brackets here. I think we'll start here in the top in the East, and we'll do our Elite 8 matchups to each one. I'll do the East, and then you guys do your East, and then we go down to the West, so on and so forth, yada, 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 to quote the great Seinfeld show here. And we'll get her started. In the top, UConn versus Stetson. I feel sorry for Stetson. This is going to be like, maybe they cover. I don't even know what the spread is, but bet UConn. They're going to come out ready to roll. Florida Atlantic, Northwestern. Florida Atlantic, a Final Four team, which is interesting because in the East region, we have 3 of the 4 Final Four teams that are in from last year's tournament in the East region. Florida Atlantic been a little bit of a disappointment this year. not as great as we thought they were going to be. You know, early when the season started, there was talk of them going undefeated, being the 2014 Wichita State team, but still found a way in the tournament. FAU, I like them to advance to the round of 32. And then San Diego State versus UAB, the runner-up from last year. I like San Diego State to advance. Auburn versus Yale. Poor Yale. They may be smarter than the people in Auburn, but they are not better at basketball. BYU versus Duquesne. And this is where I have my first lower seed winning. I like Duquesne, who is coached by LeBron's former high school coach, whose name is escaping me. I like them upsetting BYU and Duquesne making it to the winning a game in the NCAA tournament. 3 versus 14 matchup is Illinois versus Morehead State. I like Illinois. I don't think there's much of a game there. Washington State versus Drake. Now, both teams I thought could be making a deep run, but one of them is going to come to an end early. In the end, I like Washington State a little bit more. They're senior-led deep guards here. That's what gets you deep into March. I like the Cougs to advance. And then we have Iowa State versus South Dakota State. A little bit of a teacher versus student matchup as Iowa State's TJ Otzenberger, former South Dakota State head coach, goes up against his old team. You know, with all the auto bids kind of being stolen, that actually pushed South Dakota State up to that 15 mark. And it still is I still think there's a potential Iowa State wins, but it's going to need or South Dakota State wins, but it's going to need a special performance from one Zeke Mayo. And I think Iowa State knows that, and they're going to lock him up. And I like Iowa State to advance. And then in the round of 32, UConn FAU, and we were 2 seconds away from from that being the matchup in the NCAA title. I think FAU gets their shot at him, but it's not going to matter. UConn rolls. San Diego State, Auburn. This is a game, too. I like the way Auburn is playing right now. They seem like a team that if they were not in UConn's region, I probably would have picked them to make it to at least the Elite Eight, depending on who they play in that matchup to advance to the Final Four. But I like Auburn to beat the Aztecs. Duquesne versus Illinois. I like Illinois to roll. And Washington State, Iowa State. I'm rolling with the Cougs again. I think Washington State upsets Iowa State. And then in the Sweet 16, we got UConn versus Auburn. I like UConn. It's still just a machine that's chugging along. I think Auburn is going to have to shoot the lights out, similar to what they did back in 2016 when they made, or 2019 when they made that run to the Final Four. And then Illinois, Washington State, I think the Coug magic, I think that runs out, which sets up an Elite Eight matchup with a chance to go to Arizona, Phoenix on the line between UConn and Illinois.
All right. I feel like we have a lot of the same picks. Not going to take Stetson. That's just not going to happen. UConn goes. They destroy them. FAU, Northwestern. I really want to pick Northwestern, but they haven't been there very much. Boo Booey will probably be the best player on the court that day, but they're hurt. They have a lot of guys out right now. I think they're down like 2 starters. And Florida Atlantic's been there. They've done it. They did it last year. They have that experience. They have the Final Four run. So I'm going with FAU, kind of a little bit of the dark horse. I think you might actually see a lot of people pick them over UConn, but they're stupid. San Diego State over UAB. Too good defensively. Mountain West was probably a top 3 conference all year. Auburn, Yale, like Dylan said, the nerds will lose. BYU, Duquesne. I really don't know why Duquesne is an 11 seed. They had a net 60, I guess, spots worse than New Mexico, who was an 11 seed. So make sense for me. So BYU rolls in that one. Illinois destroys Morehead State. I picked Drake last year. I'm sticking with them. They damn near pulled it out, so we're going to go with them over Washington State. And then Iowa State, South Dakota State. If there's one game where people know what they're going to be doing, the other team, this is it. I just think Iowa State has a little bit too many athletes, too good a defense, so Iowa State's going to win that one as well. Go back up to the top. I have UConn over FAU. I just don't think FAU's got the kind of the fight they had last year for whatever reason. They really haven't been nearly what they were last year, which is odd considering they returned everybody. San Diego State over Auburn. I really don't think Auburn is as good as a 4 seed. They've had a good ending to the year. They did not start out well. So I really do like San Diego State defensively, being able to shut them down. Illinois, BYU. Illinois can put points up with anyone in the country. They are unbelievable. Terrence Shannon might be the best player in the tournament. So it's hard for me to pick against them. So Illinois wins. And then Battle of Des Moines area, Drake, Iowa State. And we're going Iowa State gets the win in the, I guess, almost across city. Not quite, about 45-minute drive. But that's going to be crazy. That's a really weird regional.
Oh, that's in Omaha, too. So that's going to be...
You're going to get a lot of Jacks fans. You're going to get a lot of Drake fans. You're going to get a lot of Iowa State fans. So that'll be a very, very fun atmosphere at that game. Go back up to the Sweet 16 here. I got UConn beating San Diego State in a rematch of the title game last year. San Diego State does not get their revenge. And then I have Illinois knocking out Iowa State. I think their offense is still too good, even though Iowa State is a top 5 defensive team this year. They have too many athletes, too many mismatches. And I don't know if anyone outside of Houston is going to be able to contain Terrence Shannon or really anyone on the whole Illinois offense.
Granny, you're up.
Yes, and then Dylan, I might need some help with you because I don't have a physical sheet in front of me for my picks, but I do remember who I picked. The first one, it's simple. UConn, they're the best team. Stetson, congratulations, but go home. Get the hell out of here. I think FAU over Northwestern. I think Ethan's right. I think FAU finally turns it on from where they were. They got to the tournament again. I feel like they're going to say, hey, you know what? It's our time to shine. So the Owls advance. And then Dylan, what's the next game after this?
It is San Diego State versus UAB.
Yep, yeah, San Diego State. Again, they're in the tournament now. It's time to go. The Aztecs are going to win this thing. And it's Auburn, right?
Yep.
Auburn versus Yale.
Yeah, Auburn, yeah. The Tigers are going to roll. So Auburn advances. That one's easy. Illinois, I don't care who they're playing. That team cannot stop Illinois. Illinois advances.
Well, BYU Duquesne first. Did you
Oh,
do that
sorry.
one?
Sorry. I'm with Dylan. I'm going to go Duquesne just because of the upset factor. LeBron James is high school coach, and he said he's retiring. So he's going to go out with at least one tournament win.
Keith Dambrot, I think, is his name. Former Akron head coach who lost to NDSU in the 2014-15 season.
Okay.
Fun little nugget there, yep.
But like I said, the Illinois game, it doesn't matter who they're playing. Illinois is going to win. They're going to put up 90. The other team will not put up 60.
Washington State versus Drake.
You know, I'm going to go with the Midwestern kids. Give me Drake. Give me the Bulldogs.
All right. And Iowa State, South Dakota State?
South Dakota State's not going to be able to score enough against Iowa State. Iowa State advances.
Okay. And then now you've got UConn FAU.
UConn's the best team in the country. They make light work at FAU, UConn.
And you had San Diego State versus Auburn.
You know, I like the run Auburn's been on recently. They're scoring a lot of points. Give me the Tigers. I think there's something special brewing in Auburn right now.
Duquesne, Illinois.
Sorry, coach is going to retire. For Duquesne, Illinois is too good. The Illini advance.
All right. Drake, Iowa State.
Again, this is going to be a battle, like Ethan said, a battle of Central Iowa. But Iowa State's rolling. They're too good. Iowa State advances.
All right. Now we got UConn versus Auburn in the Sweet 16.
I just UConn's too good. I don't think Auburn has the size to match up with them. The Huskies advance.
All right. And then Illinois, Iowa State.
Illinois' athletes they're too good. Iowa State's defense is not going to be able to slow them down. And Iowa State cannot score the basketball enough. So give me the Illini and the Huskies in the Elite Eight.
Okay. And then let's go down to the West region where it is UNC is the 1 seed here And UNC, it doesn't matter who they're going to play, Howard or Wagner, UNC is going to win. But in the 8-9 game, we got the battle for MSU supremacy, Michigan State versus Mississippi State. Now, it is often referred to as January-February Izzo. That is not the case, nor has it been the case these last few years. I like Mississippi State to beat Michigan State. St. Mary's Grand Canyon in the 5-12 matchup. I like the Gales to advance. They won the West Coast Conference regular season. They won the West Coast Conference tournament. I like this St. Mary's Gales team. I like them to avoid that 5-12 match upset and the Gales advance. 4-13 Alabama versus Charleston. Alabama's got a guy from North Dakota on the team. I'm rolling with the Tide and Grant Nelson. Alabama wins over Charleston. Clemson versus New Mexico here. I was a little bit shocked that Clemson was that high of a seed because, Grant, you and I last week, we were talking about how there's a potential that there may be only 2 teams in the ACC that get in. And it was going to be Carolina Duke. They end up getting, was it 6? 5?
I think 5. 5.
It was 5. And, I have one ACC team advancing in the first round, and it is not Clemson in this region. So give me the Fighting Richard Pitino's the New Mexico Lobos advance to the round of 32.
Well, Dick.
And then in 3-14, Baylor versus Colgate. I think Baylor has been playing well. I think they've found a little bit of that magic from that 21 season. I like the Bears to advance, setting up a Lobos versus Bears matchup in the round of 32. And then in the 7-10 matchup in the West is Dayton versus Nevada. And, like Ethan said, this Nevada or the Mountain West was probably a top 3 conference in college basketball this year. I think Nevada proves that. I like the Wolfpack to advance. And then Arizona versus Long Beach State, a team that Michigan lost to early in the year, which started the downfall of the Wolverines season. I think Michigan lost to Long Beach State, and I think Long Beach State loses to Arizona. The Wildcats move on. So back up to the top, we've got UNC versus Mississippi State. I got to go with the Heels. I don't think Mississippi State has enough offense to hang with the Tar Heels. I like the Tar Heels to go. St. Mary's versus Alabama. Again, I can't not go roll with the Tide. I'm rolling with Grant Nelson. And then New Mexico versus Baylor. You know what? It wouldn't be an NCAA tournament without a deep Pitino run. So you know what? I have the New Mexico Lobos and Richard Pitino advancing to the Sweet 16, honoring his father who was left out of the tournament. And then Nevada versus Arizona. I just said some very nice things about the Mountain West Conference, but I think the Wolfpack's magic runs out and they get taken down by the Wildcats. So back to the second weekend, top UNC versus Alabama. I've said a lot of nice things about Alabama, but I think their luck runs out. I think Nate Oates' style of play matters, and Nate Oates is 3 or layup. I think this is where it comes to bite him in the ass again, like it did last year. I like Tar Heels advancing to the Elite 8, and in this the other Sweet 16 matchup in the West, it's New Mexico versus Arizona. And I think this is any college basketball fan, when they saw Caleb Love transfer to Arizona, I think everybody was thought this could be a possibility that Arizona and North Carolina match up in the NCAA tournament. We get that matchup to go to Phoenix, UNC versus Arizona.
All right. Back to the top. North Carolina. It doesn't matter if it's Howard Wagner. Combine them, they're still going to lose. Mississippi State, Michigan State. I think this is a game where Michigan State can get out and run. Mississippi State has a couple big guys that are not going to be able to get back on defense, and that's where Michigan State excels. They've been playing a hell of a lot better. They went toe-to-toe with Purdue. for 95% of that game in the Big Ten quarters. I'll take Michigan State. St. Mary's, Grand Canyon. Sorry, Sam, but Grand Canyon is not going to beat St. Mary's. Alabama, Charleston. I picked Charleston last year. They screwed me over. So we're going to Roll Tide. Clemson, New Mexico, same thing. I'm going New Mexico. I can't go against my guy, Richard Pitino. He's the GOAT. Baylor, Colgate. I picked the Fighting Toothpaste last year, and they lost. So we are going with Baylor. Go Bears. Nevada, Dayton. I am sticking with my Mountain West, and they are going to take Nevada. They beat, who was it? There's like a 7 seed earlier this year by 13 on a neutral court, yet there's 3 levels.
Or was it Texas A&M? No.
I think I sent you guys the
You
tweet.
did.
You're
You
saying
did.
Nevada?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to find out.
It was someone who's in the tournament that's seeded way higher than them. I know that.
TCU.
That's it. Yes, the 9 seed, yeah. Again, seeding makes no sense this year. Arizona, Long Beach State, for another former Gopher coach who on Monday last week, they mutually parted ways after the season. Then he went and reeled off 4 straight wins to make the NCAA tournament. So makes total sense, but Don Monson will still not be coming back to Long Beach State. So this will be his final game there. On to the second round. Oh, I lost my spot. First big upset. I got Michigan State knocking off North Carolina. This is the big one. I am rolling with Michigan State. I think they are much better than their 19-14 record. Second, St. Mary's, Alabama. Alabama can score. St. Mary's is another top 5 defensive team in the country. So I am going to say St. Mary's can shut them down and slow them down enough, and they can score as well. So I'll go with that. I'm not drinking the Little Dick Kool-Aid as much as Dylan, so we're going with Baylor as much as I want to pick Mr. Richard. Can't do it. And then we're going against the Mountain West again here, Arizona over Nevada. So that sets up a couple intriguing Sweet 16s. Michigan State, St. Mary's. Michigan State's run ends. They are going out due to St. Mary's. They advance to the Elite 8. And probably going to be one of the better games of the year of the tournament. Baylor, Arizona. We're picking Mr. Love, and he's taking his Baylor Bears to the Elite 8. The
Arizona
Wildcats to the Elite 8.
All right, again, so my turn. We'll start at the top. Shocker, Carolina's going to roll. This game doesn't matter. Carolina with the not betting wise here, Dylan, take Carolina to cover and the over on the points.
Got it.
Michigan State, Mississippi State. I'm gonna continue to be a hater, like I was yesterday. I understand Michigan State played everyone in the non-conference. Blah 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 blah. Well, just because you play them, I'm not going to give you credit. That's bullshit. They didn't win those games. They were 10-10 in the Big Ten. Hey, they played Purdue close. This isn't horseshoes or hand grenades. Coming close doesn't matter. Give me the Bulldogs. Hail State. Michigan State can go home because I'm sick of Tom Izzo because he's an asshole. What's that? I put my heart and soul into that team. What's the next one? Is it St. Mary's or is it Alabama?
St. Mary's versus Grand Canyon.
St. Mary's. Give me the West Coast Conference champions. There's a new king in the WCC. It's St. Mary's. Go Gales.
Now Alabama toothpaste. No, Alabama.
Charleston.
Sorry.
No. Charleston seems like a great city. Basketball team. No. Give me the Tide and give me Nate Oates.
All right. Clemson, New Mexico.
I'm sorry to do this, New Mexico, but Clemson's going to advance because we're all picking New Mexico to win this thing.
That's how it works, dude.
It's a clean sweep. There's got to be a 6-11, 5-12 upset. Give me the Lobos.
All right. Baylor, Colgate.
Next game, Colgate as a toothpaste sucks. Give me Crest. So Baylor wins.
Okay.
And then next
we
game,
got Dayton, Nevada.
You know, give me the Flyers. They have a better. That's a better name than the Wolfpack. Give me Dayton University to represent.
Is that a shot at not Step Brothers? Crap, can't think of the name.
The Hangover? No, it is not.
Yes. Okay.
No,
just to verify.
It is not a shot at the Hangover here.
Okay.
Give me the guys from the Midwest, Dayton, Ohio, where the first 4 always used to be. Maybe it still is there.
It is.
It is.
Okay, good. Give me Dayton and representing the first 4 in this damn tournament. And then this next game, it doesn't matter. Long Beach, yeah, you have nice beaches. Go play sand volleyball after Arizona eliminates you. Go Wildcats.
Hey, they are very good at that.
Yes. So.
So you've got similar to me. You've got UNC Mississippi State.
Yes. I live in a North Carolina house. I have to go with the Heels. This is just out of pure respect.
You're also wearing Smokey the Bear hat, which
I am also wearing Smokey the Bear hat. So
hey, it makes sense.
Yeah. So give me the Tar Heels. Give me the Tar Heels in this game. And then this next one, I'm with Ethan. I think Alabama, and maybe Dylan said St. Mary's, and maybe I wasn't paying attention, but Alabama.
I did not say St. Mary's.
They rely too much on the three. It's going to cost them. Give me the Gales.
Okay. Then we've got you've got New Mexico versus Baylor.
Well, this is simple. If a wolf and a bear were to get in a fight in the wild, the bear wins. So give me Baylor.
Okay. All right. Nevada versus Arizona.
No, I said Dayton.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. Dayton versus Arizona.
That would be a great
7 versus 2
matchup, by the way.
It would. It would be an elite matchup. Give me Dayton. Give me Arizona. I'm sorry. They're Pac-12 Player of the Year. Caleb Love is on a mission. Give me the Wildcats.
All right. Now in the Sweet 16, you've got UNC St. Mary's.
UNC. Again.
UNC.
Like
and
I live
then
in Carolina house. Got to represent.
Baylor versus Arizona.
Dylan, I'm with you. We get to match up the NCAA wanted. Pac-12 Player of the Year going up against the ACC Player of the Year. Give me Arizona.
All right. Now over to the South, we've got Houston versus Longwood. Houston's going to suffocate them, and it won't be close. Nebraska versus Texas A&M. Nebraska searching for their first ever NCAA tournament win. I think they get it. I like them to beat Texas A&M in one of my Final Four teams at the beginning of the year. And then in the Pardon My Take Bowl, Wisconsin versus James Madison. I like the Dukes to advance. I think Wisconsin got too hot a week early. I think they're gonna resort back to the time when they were playing Michigan. I like the Dukes to advance to the round of 32. And then Duke versus Vermont. Now, Vermont has been in the tournament for the last 6 straight years here and have yet to win a game. That changes. I like the Catamounts to upset Duke, and we get a JMU Vermont round of 32 matchup. And then
Dylan,
in the
big maple syrup guy.
Yeah.
Maple syrup, yes. Darn right. When you've had to eat as much pancakes as I had, yeah, I do enjoy some maple syrup.
You should have bought him some of that maple syrup from the craft fair last year.
We really screwed that one up, didn't we?
Yeah.
Damn it, you guys suck.
I got a bourbon.
Do better.
Syrup.
Do better.
None of that sugar-free bullshit either, right, Dylan?
Exactly. And yeah, no sugar-free bullshit, Grant. I agree. It's funny because my dad's over here. He was finishing painting my house, painting my bedroom today, and I heard him just walk in, so maybe he could hear me. But in the 6-11 matchup, Texas Tech versus NC State. I think NC State, they needed to win the ACC tournament to get into the dance, but they're gonna get kicked out right away. Texas Tech wins, and then in the 3-14, Kentucky versus Oakland. Oakland's coach has been there for 40-some years here, and I don't know if he's retiring or not, but if this could potentially be his last game because the Wildcats are going to win this one. And then in the Florida, Boise State, Colorado winner game, it doesn't matter. Florida, I like Florida to advance. And then in the Marquette Western Kentucky matchup, I like Marquette and Shaka Smart to advance to the 3rd round. Can he get over that hump and get to that second weekend of the tournament? We'll find out here in a little bit. That's what we call in the business a tease here. So back up to the top. Round of 32. Houston, Nebraska. I don't think Nebraska has enough offense to score. I think Houston's defense just suffocates them. I think Nebraska can keep it close for a half, but in the end, Houston pulls away. And in the JMU Vermont game, I think James Madison's good enough to beat Vermont, but just because I really do not like James Madison from all the battles NDSU had and their JMU fans thinking NDSU and James Madison were rivals, which James Madison would have to actually win more than one game. I'm going to go with the Catamounts to advance to the second weekend of the tournament. And then Texas
No
Tech
sugar-free
versus
bullshit. No sugar-free bullshit.
That's right. And the Texas Tech Kentucky matchup, I like the Wildcats to roll. And then down in the final one, Florida versus Marquette. Shaka Smart looking to advance to the second weekend in the tournament since his magical run to the Final Four with VCU in 2011. I think he has to wait another year to get to the second weekend. I like the Gators to upset Marquette here to advance to the Sweet 16. So in the Sweet 16, we got Houston, Vermont, and this is where Vermont thinks that they got to cut down. They got to be a little bit healthier to be able to keep up with Houston. They're going to find out that their blood sugar runs low because they use that sugar-free bullshit syrup. And I like the Cougs to advance to the Elite Eight.
I just think they're better.
And in all SEC matchup in the Sweet 16 on this side, Kentucky versus Florida. Florida knocked Kentucky. Florida won in Rupp Arena. I think Kentucky gets revenge for that and knocks Florida out of the NCAA tournament, and we got a Houston-Kentucky matchup in the South region to go to the Final Four.
Whose logos are strikingly similar.
Yeah.
Yes,
like
they
the
are.
letter, the
They are
font.
very similar. Yeah.
That is quite the epiphany I just had, Grant. I never thought of that until now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Oh, look at you go. All right. So Houston Longwood. Longwood is going to have a long night. So Houston wins.
Oh, good work, Ethan. I love it.
Hey, thank you.
Let's go.
Thank you. I've been thinking of that all day. Nebraska, Texas A&M. I wanted to pick Nebraska to go really far in this tournament because they've been playing phenomenal basketball. Yeah, that's
They got an abysmal draw.
Yeah, they got one of the worst draws in the whole tournament. Wisconsin, James Madison. I drove through Madison this weekend. It is awful. I hate it. So we're going James Madison. Let's
go.
Duke.
Yeah.
That leads to Duke, Vermont. Duke wins just because I want a battle of the Dukes. And we're going to see who comes out. Texas Tech, NC State. I think Texas Tech could be a sleeper. Again, terrible draw having to face Kentucky second round. But if they're a very, very good team, probably one of the best coaching jobs in the country this year. Kentucky, Oakland. I don't care how many years the guy's been there. He's not beating Kentucky. Florida versus Boise or Colorado. Can't pick the Mountain West in this one. I'll take Florida, even though their guy broke his leg in half earlier this week.
Yeah, it was gross.
And then Marquette, Western Kentucky. It doesn't matter if Kolick plays or not. Marquette's deep enough team that they'll beat them. So if they have Kolick, great. If they don't, it is what it is. They'll still win. Back up to the top. Houston beats Nebraska. As much as I want to pick Nebraska, I just don't see how they're going to be able to contain Houston a little bit. Their guards are so uber athletic. It's nuts. Battle of the Dukes. We have the 12 seed winning. We have the good Duke out on top. I guess not really a good Duke, but for basketball Dukes, it's good Duke.
The better Duke.
Yeah, the better Duke.
Yeah,
the better Duke.
Two evils.
Yep.
Yes.
Texas Tech, Kentucky. I mentioned it's a tough draw for Texas Tech. I'm going with Kentucky. They can put points up just like as much, if not more, than Illinois. So they're very tough to stop. And then Florida, Marquette. We're going Marquette. I think they're just too good offensively. Florida, I just don't think has enough offensively to keep up with them. And then Houston. We're going Houston, James Madison. It was a fun run, but James Madison is done. Well, that kind of rhymed. Look at that.
Wow, look at you. Freestyling, baby.
Calm down. But Houston wins, and then the bottom half, Kentucky, Marquette. Kentucky wins. They are so freaking uber athletic. Reed Shepherd, phenomenal. Calipari. If this team plays defense this tournament, I think they are absolutely 100% the favorite. When they play defense, they are absolutely unbeatable. If he can get them to buy in for 6 games, I think this is the team that's going to chop down the Nets, but we'll see if that happens or not. So, yeah, Houston, Kentucky, Elite Eight.
God, Kentucky, Marquette. That's a matchup of awful, dingy, gross cities / states.
Honestly, Lexington drove through that too. Super nice.
Oh,
I liked
okay.
it. Champaign, it's just as ass as the goddamn alcohol.
Champagne sucks, bro. Dude, that's such a shithole.
It's just terrible.
Oh, it's awful.
The drink tastes good, though.
Lafayette was nicer than Champagne.
Dude, driving through Illinois, when I went down to Florida, I wanted to, bodily harm myself. Rip my eyes out. This thing sucks.
It's
the worst.
Minneapolis. You will be fucked.
It is the worst state in the union. Yeah, Illinois sucks.
It does.
I hope our listeners in Illinois, the state of Chicago, thanks for Blaze at Fargo Rental. Hear this.
Insane.
Oh, it's awful.
Outside of Chicago, it was $3.90 for 87. Yeah, it was
gross. All right, well, I guess it's my turn. I don't care who Houston's playing. They're advancing. Go Cougs. Son of a bitch, guys. What's the 8-9 matchup in this?
Nebraska A&M.
Oh, I forgot to mention, they're going to get revenge for their AD leaving. That's another big one. They're playing with fire here.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that. The women got matched up too. Same exact game.
I did see that. That's hilarious. I'm not gonna lie. This matchup sucks for me because I really despise both schools. So this will probably be one first round game that hopefully is on Thursday that I don't have to watch, because if I'm watching it on Friday, Ethan is going to make me watch it with him and root for one team. But you know what? For Fred Hoiberg, for the mayor, give me the Huskers. Go Big Ten. Give me Nebraska to pull off this win.
Yep.
All right. And then 5-12, Wisconsin JMU.
Again, I'm sorry to the people of James Madison, but it's a clean sweep, so the Badgers are going to win this thing. But give me the Dukes. Give me James Madison. What are they, 31-3 this year, boys?
31-3, yep.
Wins in the tournament.
31-3, that's incredible. Dylan, I think
you're road win at Michigan State when they were top 5.
Mm-hmm. And Dylan, I think you're right. I think Wisconsin got hot a week early. They're going to lose their edge. Give me the Dukes.
Greg Gard's not a good coach.
No, he's not. And also, Wall is still on the Wisconsin team, so we have extra reason to hate them because he's there. The next game, Duke and
Duke Vermont.
Duke Vermont. Sorry, Dylan, I cannot go with the maple syrup team this time. I'm going to go with the Blue Devils. Just a little. I don't like this Duke team, but I think just a little too much talent. And Filipowski, I think, is going to have a day. So give me the Blue Devils.
Which I guess he needs after almost having his leg amputated.
Absolutely.
Is he the first one-legged player to play in the NCAA tournament?
That I can remember.
Okay. Anyways, the Texas Tech NC State.
5 games in 5 days. I like the Wolfpack, guys. I think they got some mojo going. They almost beat Carolina at the end of the regular season. They played Duke. They played Duke tough. They got something going. Also, I live in a house when the dog's name is Raleigh. NC State is in Raleigh. Give me the Wolfpack.
All right. We got Kentucky, Oakland.
And apparently on that note, I'm a big Raleigh Chapel Hill guy in this house, but it just feels right.
Man, outside of campus in North Carolina, Chapel Hill's a shit show.
Yes, it is. It's an awful city, but the campus is great.
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky, Oakland.
Yeah, give me the Wildcats. This one's easy. Oakland, they're a school in Michigan, but you say Oakland, they should be in California. It makes no sense. Give me the Wildcats.
Are they close to
All right, we got
they check out
Florida and the winner of Boise State, Colorado.
I like Florida, boys. They're playing hot. They're playing good, like Ethan said, minus the injury. The Gators are rolling. I want to see the Gators advance.
All right, and then Marquette, Western Kentucky.
Yeah, Marquette, Sharpie. The guard play, they're too athletic. Western Kentucky, when they get off this game, they can go back and watch the rest of the tournament from the Hill because they're the Hilltoppers. It's the worst name in college sports. Get them out of here. Give me Marquette.
All right, and then back up to the top, we got Houston versus Nebraska.
Sorry, Fred, but your run ends. I know you might be the mayor, but you're running into the governor of defense in Houston. Give me the Cougs.
All right, and then we got James Madison versus Duke. Battle of the Dukes.
Battle of the Dukes. I'm going to go with the bad Dukes here, boys. Apparently, I'm just a Raleigh-Durham Chapel Hill stan in this count. I think Shire's going to get revenge off last year's exit in the round of 32. Give me the Blue Devils to advance to the
Your
Sweet
right
16.
hand just loves North Carolina.
Ethan.
It does.
Ethan, do you know what Grant said when he got to the Carolina Ball? And where are we at?
Apparently,
Here?
a big Carolina guy at this house.
NC State, Kentucky. Does the NC State love stay?
Sorry to my friends in Raleigh, but your run ends.
The dream is dead.
Yeah, Kentucky, they're too good. They're playing too good offensively right now. And unlike in football, where in the postseason I think defense wins you championships, in basketball when your offense is going, I don't think anyone can stop you. Give me the Wildcats.
All right, and then the Florida versus Marquette matchup.
This is going to be a close, tough game, but I think just the depth of Marquette's guards and how athletic they are takes them over the top. So give me the Eagles.
Okay, and then in the Sweet 16 we got Houston versus Duke.
Well, my love for the Raleigh-Durham area goes down one notch again. Give me the Cougars in this game. Give me the
Okay,
Cougs.
and then Kentucky Marquette.
Sorry, Shaka Smart. Your fun is over. I can't trust you. Give me the Wildcats.
It's over.
But he got to the second weekend,
But he got to the second weekend.
according to Grant. So that wraps up the South. Down to the Midwest. Purdue versus Montana State or Grambling. Montana State was the 9 seed in the Big Sky this year, and got hot at the right time. Purdue, they are going to get a little bit of revenge off a 16 seed after losing 2-1 last year. I like the Boilermakers to advance. TCU versus Utah State. We Mountain West. I think the Big 12 was a little bit down this year, but I don't think it was down enough. I like the Horned Frogs to advance to beat Utah State. Gonzaga versus McNeese State. Now, Gonzaga has been in the tournament since the 90s. Since 1999 was the last time they weren't in the NCAA tournament. They haven't lost in the first round in, I'm not sure. I know they lost in 2013 to Butler in the second round game. I think this is the first time Gonzaga loses in the first round. Give me the Fighting Will Wades. McNeese State upsets Gonzaga. And then in the Kansas-Samford 4 versus 13, Kansas is glimpsed into this NCAA tournament. It's not going to matter. I like the Jayhawks.
They're in a fucking wheelchair.
Yeah. And the 6-11, South Carolina versus Oregon. I like the Gamecocks. And Creighton versus Akron. I like the Blue Jays. And then in the Texas versus UVA Colorado State matchup, this is the first 4 matchup. Whoever wins this game is beating Texas. I don't think Texas is as good as what they were last year. They're a game away from the Final Four. I like the winner of UVA versus Colorado State to beat Texas in the first round. And then in the bottom, the 2 versus 15, rounding out the South, or the Midwest, Tennessee versus St. Peter's. St. Peter's made it to the Elite 8 2 years ago. They don't make it out of the first round this year. I like Tennessee to advance to the second round. And then back up to the top, Purdue versus TCU. Purdue is on a mission. They exercised those first round demons. They got that monkey off their back. They're going to roll to a win again over TCU here in the third round. And then we got McNeese State versus Kansas. And this is where I think Kansas's injuries catch up to them. I like McNeese State to advance to the Sweet 16. And then in the South Carolina Creighton game, I think Creighton's just a little bit too much. Creighton advances. And then in the UVA Colorado State game versus Tennessee, the Vols, too much to handle. Give me the Volunteers. And in the Sweet 16, Purdue versus McNeese, I think this is where Will Wade meets his match in Zach Edey. I think Purdue takes care of McNeese State and gets back to the Elite 8. And in the final, we got Creighton versus Tennessee here. 2 mid-major studs that are carrying their teams this year is Creighton versus Tennessee. And this is where Tennessee over the last few years has gotten into trouble, where they were on paper the more talented team. They didn't have that alpha go-to guy to get you a bucket. They do this year in Dalton Connect. And the Northern Colorado transfer, who I just found out today, was actually born in Fargo, North Dakota. And Creighton, they've got a transfer from South Dakota State. And North Dakota, I gotta go with the North Dakota guy. I'm going with the Volunteers to beat Creighton and set up a matchup of a 2019 Sweet 16 rematch of Purdue versus Tennessee just one round later.
All right. Back up to the top. We are going with Purdue. They don't lose to a 16 seed again. Matt Painter learned his lesson. Utah State, TCU, very tough one. Utah State, phenomenal team, but I'm going with TCU. I think their style of play is going to fit this tournament well.
Know about Westlove?
Yeah. I picked them last year. I'm going to roll with them this year. Gonzaga, McNeese State, I'm with you. I think this Gonzaga team is not that great. They have not beat many of the big opponents they played this year, including St. Mary's, like we talked about. Give me the McNeese State. I don't even know what their mascot is. It doesn't matter.
The Fighting Will Wades.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, this is probably his last couple games before he goes to Louisville, and this time he has money, but it's legal.
Oh, God.
So
God. Oh, no.
It's going to
go. The ACC is in trouble.
Yeah, seriously.
Boy.
McNeese State is beat Cowboys.
Cowboys. Okay, sure.
Fighting Will Wades is better.
Yep. Kansas, Samford. I don't even know who is going to play for Kansas. It might be the managers. So we are going Samford. I don't know. Like, it's South Carolina, Oregon. This one was really tough for me because Dana Altman is a hell of a coach, and they just ran the table in the Pac-12, the final Pac-12 tournament. May I add that? But I think South Carolina is too good. They have a BJ Mack in the middle, some big mofo that just dominates, so he's pretty good. Creighton, Akron. Akron just stay in Ohio. It's not going to go well. Texas, Colorado State. Virginia does not deserve to be in the tournament, so why they are here, they shouldn't even show up. Nico Medved, potential next Michigan coach, Nico Medved, is going to get the win.
Yep, there. Read that.
Tennessee, St. Peter's. I'm sorry, but the flock is not going to fly this year. Tennessee is going to beat them. The Peacocks, right, or something like that?
Peacocks, yeah.
Yep.
Gotta let me fly.
Yep. Purdue, TCU. This is where it gets a little interesting. This is a nightmare matchup for Purdue. All year, turnovers have plagued them. What does TCU do? They're long, they're athletic, and they force turnovers. If Braden Smith is not healthy, they 100% will lose this game. And honestly, he has not been healthy for 2 weeks. I don't think 5 days off is going to help him. He's not going to be healthy. I'm taking TCU. I'm rolling with the Horned Frogs.
Upset.
McNeese State, yep. 2 number 1 seeds done. Gone. See ya. McNeese State, Samford. McNeese State, Will Wade does his thing, moves on. South Carolina, Creighton. Creighton's too much. Shireman, too damn good. Move on. Colorado State, Tennessee. I really do want to pick Colorado State because when they play well, they can beat anyone. I mean, heck, they beat Creighton on a neutral court earlier this year in a dominating fashion, let me add. But I think Tennessee's just too good. Connect, too good. They'll move on. Sweet 16, TCU, McNeese State, a classic 9-12 matchup in the Sweet 16. TCU wins. They got so damn close last year. Horned Frogs moving on. Creighton, TCU. We're going to get
You mean Creighton, Tennessee?
4 teams last year into the Elite Eight. Creighton's going to beat Tennessee. I think their offense is too much. I don't know what happened with Tennessee in the SEC tournament, but my God, did they look terrible versus Mississippi State.
It's March.
Creighton's very similar to Mississippi State. They're long and athletic. Could cause trouble for the Volunteers.
All right. Well, we have all of our Elite Eight matchups set now.
So
let's go back up. Oh, yeah, Grant, never mind. Shoot. All right,
Wow.
Grant.
Wow.
Well, that's okay.
Wow.
I'm going to disregard Purdue's opponent like Dylan just did me. Purdue, easy.
Well done. Well done.
You're the only one that hasn't had a snarky comment, so you got to figure it out, bud.
Who the hell are they potentially playing in the next round? Who's this 8-9 game again?
Utah State versus TCU.
Oh, yeah. Give me the Horned Frogs, baby.
Moron.
Yeah.
Give me the Horned Frogs. Let's go. Jamie Dixon with a great set of hair. Go Horned Frogs.
Yep.
Give me the Frogs, baby. And then, I'm sorry, is this McNeese?
Gonzaga.
Yeah, sorry, Mark Few. You were cool 3 years ago. Will Wade is cool today. Give me the McNeese fighting Will Wades to win.
All right, Kansas Samford.
So the difference is Bill Self will be coaching this year, not some assistant. Bill Self has not had a heart attack yet. I think Kansas can beat Samford. The Jayhawks advance.
Who says he's not going to have one to act like, hey, my team sucks, I don't have
That's
any.
what I'm saying. Things can change, but as of right now, on Monday night, Bill Self will be there. Give me the Jayhawks.
He might go full Coach K, is what you're saying?
Or Urban Meyer. Oh, I can't make it. Oh, no, my chest hurts.
Oh, my
We got
God.
South Carolina versus Oregon.
I hit the portal for the Ducks in the football season. I'm going to roll with the basketball team. Give me the Ducks because they're playing hot right now. Give me Oregon.
Creighton, Akron.
Holy shit, guys. Anthony Edwards just
someone?
buried John Collins. Like, just decimated him. His armpit was in his face. On a dunk. And he got it to go.
I know I said something nice about Dayton earlier. I can't say anything nice about the state of Ohio 2 times in a show. I forgot who Akron is playing, but give me the Blue Jays. Let's go.
Dumbass.
Let's go. Yeah, for the state of Nebraska, getting 2 wins. God, that hurts to say. But give me the Blue Jays.
And then, all right, Texas versus Virginia, Colorado State.
For some reason, I think Virginia's going to win this game tomorrow or Wednesday, which upsets me. But Virginia will not beat Texas. So give me the Horns.
All right, Tennessee, St. Peter's.
St. Peter's, you don't matter. Go home, Tennessee.
All right, which is kind of disappointing because we could have gotten an all-Cox matchup here in the Sweet 16 if St. Peter's and South Carolina.
We got a massive Cox matchup tonight. Oh, God.
Can you imagine Iron Eagle? We're going to find out who has the bigger Cox tonight.
So, Purdue versus TCU, Grant. Who are you going with?
This is going to be a tight one, but I think Purdue learned its lessons from last year. Give me the Boilermakers.
All right. McNeese State versus Kansas.
So Bill Self will have a heart attack trying to prepare for this game. Give me the Fighting Will Wades to advance into the Sweet 16.
All right. Great minds think alike. You got Oregon versus Creighton.
Sorry, Oregon. It was a fun ride for this weekend, but Creighton is too tall and too athletic, and they're determined to get back to the Final Four this year after they almost got there last year. Give me the Blue Jays.
All right, and then a Texas versus Tennessee, a Rick Barnes matchup.
A Rick Barnes reunion, and a game that will be played in Charlotte. Rick Barnes' home state is North Carolina. Texas is the superior orange to Tennessee, but Tennessee has the better player and the better basketball team. Give me the Volunteers.
Okay, and now we got Purdue versus McNeese State.
Sorry, Will. It was a fun ride for these last 5 minutes that I promoted you, but have fun at Louisville. Purdue advances.
All right, now we got a Creighton versus Tennessee matchup here.
You know how I said 5 minutes ago you can't trust Tennessee because it's March?
Yep.
This is the weekend we cash that check in. McDermott is a better coach than Barnes. Give me the Blue Jays.
Okay, I believe you had Creighton going to your Final Four in the preseason, didn't you, Grant? Or Ethan did.
Ethan did. I can't remember who. I don't think I did, but I know Ethan did.
I had Minnesota too.
Well,
Final Four in the NIT.
Still counts. Still counts.
Still a Final Four.
Well, and in like fashion, we also have a team that will not be making the Final Four that we all picked, and that is the Kansas Jayhawks. I do not foresee any way they make a run to the Final Four this year.
Who did I all pick? I don't even know outside of the three. Who was the last team I picked? Was it Florida Atlantic?
Remember.
I think it was
Tennessee. Yeah, you had Tennessee, FAU, Kansas, and Creighton.
Okay.
So, back up to the East in the this Elite Eight matchup, UConn versus Illinois, and Terrence Shannon is the best player on the court in this game, but UConn is just a team that plays relentless defense. I think if there's a defense that's going to be able to limit him and shut him down, is the team defense of UConn and the intense Dan Hurley and whatever he drinks before, which kind of looks like piss, might be, might not. I like UConn getting back to the Final Four. And then in the West, we got our UNC Arizona matchup, a battle of RJ Davis versus Caleb Love. And there was a lot of issues on Carolina this year, and I think a lot of people are pointing fingers that Caleb Love was the problem in that locker room. They let him go, and this Carolina team has played much more well together. They have meshed a lot better. Give me the team over the individual. I like Carolina getting back to the Final Four here and in Phoenix, where they won it the last time it was here. And over to the South, we've got Houston versus Kentucky. And what has plagued Houston these last few years is it hasn't been the defense. They have found ways, they have just suffocated you. They are all over you. It's 94 feet of hell. But I don't think Houston's offense is good enough again. And I think Calipari gets those guys to buy in on the defensive end. I think Kentucky's offense is good enough to get past Houston, and I like Kentucky making a return to the Final Four. And then in the Midwest region, we got Purdue versus Tennessee. And, I said Purdue was going to make the Final Four all year. And Tennessee, you can't trust them. And I still don't think you can trust them because I'm going to go with the Boilermakers. I think they are on a revenge tour from last year, and I think they get over the hump and make their first Final Four since 1980. So my Final Four teams are UConn, Carolina, Kentucky, and Purdue.
All right, let's do it. Let's get weird. UConn, Illinois. I'm picking Illinois, but it's not for Terrence Shannon.
Whoa.
It's for offensive rebounds. Illinois is top 10 in the country, over almost 13 offensive rebounds a game. UConn's not even in the top 50 for defensive
which is incredible.
It is. That's a huge thing. The amount of second chances Illinois is going to get and how many of those balls are going to be kicked out to Terrence Shannon where he can just knife through that defense, very alarming for UConn. That's a very big weakness right there. Illinois moves on. St. Mary's, Arizona. I just think St. Mary's defense is so good. They are right up there with Iowa State, Houston in terms of just team defense. I think they limit Caleb Love. I have St. Mary's going to the Final Four. Houston, Kentucky. I think it sounds crazy. They're too athletic. Their backcourt is too athletic, too good. They hit too many good shots, and they're so deep. They are so good offensively, and they can bring multiple guys off the bench that can score. I don't even think Reed Sheppard started in the game where they went to Tennessee and beat them. So I don't think Houston has the offense to go. Shed is great. Who is their Baylor transfer? Cryer. Great backcourt. They're short. They're not the longest two, and Kentucky has length. TCU, Creighton. Horned Frogs run ends. We're going with Creighton. They damn near made it for me last year. They're going to do it for me this year. I've been on that wagon all year. So my Final Four is Illinois, St. Mary's, Kentucky, Creighton.
Ooh, and no 1 seeds from Ethan in his bracket.
Seed, man. Not even a 2 seed.
No, wow.
3 seeds.
Damn. But no, guys, I think in this first Elite Eight matchup in the East region, this is the game of the tournament. This should be the national championship game, if you ask me. If UConn, Illinois, I just think with the way UConn suffocates people and how they pull away, it's going to be too much for Illinois. In the last 12 minutes of this game, the intensity they put on Terrence Shannon is just going to put a little too much pressure on him. He's going to miss some shots, and UConn just suffocates. So I think the Huskies advance to get to Phoenix to try to repeat as national champions. And if I go to the Midwest, I got Purdue versus Creighton. I think this is when Purdue's lack of elite guard play catches up to them. Creighton's long, they're athletic. They're going to revenge last year, losing in those final seconds to San Diego State. Give me the Blue Jays and the Final Four. Not UNC, Arizona. Again, this is another great game, but I'm biased. I live in a Carolina household. I think when they're on, they're one of the best teams in the country. They can come at you 7, 8, 9 guys deep. I don't trust Arizona in the tournament, just like how I don't trust Tennessee. Give me UNC to make the Final Four. And then Houston, Kentucky. Ethan said it perfectly. Houston, sure, their defensive intensity is great, but they're not long and they can't score. Kentucky has length and they can score. Give me the Wildcats in the Final Four.
All right. That's that concludes. So we are down in Phoenix now. And in my first match semifinal, UConn versus Carolina. And UConn is basically like that boa constrictor. They just suck the life out of you. They crush your hopes and dreams. UConn will defend for 40 minutes. Carolina, their defense is not consistent enough for me to trust them to get them to win 6 games in the NCAA tournament. You got to take with what you know. And I know you're going to get 40 minutes of defense from UConn. So I like the Huskies to advance to the national title with an opportunity to repeat as national champions and be the first team to do it since the Gators did in 2006 and 2007. And then on the other side, they have Kentucky versus Purdue. And this is where I think Kentucky's athleticism and play, and I think the coaching. I think Matt Painter, who's been at Purdue for forever, getting in his first Final Four, I think he's going to be afraid. I think he's going to tense up. I don't think Purdue is going to get the calls that they get with Big Ten officiating, where Zach Edey gets boxed out and they call a foul on the guy boxing him out. I think Kentucky is going to be just like Ethan said. I think they're going to be way too athletic, and I like the Wildcats setting up a rematch from the 2014 NCAA title game, UConn versus Kentucky.
Ooh, that's a good one. So Illinois St. Mary's. Illinois is not going to be able to rebound as well as they would versus UConn. St. Mary's is literally the best team in terms of rebound margin. They average 12 more rebounds than their actual opponent. That's big, but I think Terrence Shannon, his shot-making ability, just who's going to go guard Coleman Hawkins? Damask, I haven't even brought him up yet, led the Big Ten in scoring. So just the amount of weapons they have. And Damask is such an X factor. He's 6'9", 6'8", something like that. Shooting guard / point guard. He was a power forward up until about 2 years ago. Then he started to be like a younger mini version of the Joker. Incredible player. Backs down, turn around. You can't do anything about it. Illinois goes to the national championship. Kentucky Creighton, there might be 200 points scored in this game, like legitimately. Whoever gets the last shot, it's going to be one of those type of games. I'm going with Reed Shepherd in Kentucky. They are too deep. They are too talented. If they even play, like I said, a lick of defense, they easily could be the team that wins the whole thing. Going to the national championship, I have Kentucky over Illinois. I think their offense is that much better. This will be one of the better national championship games we've ever watched. It'll be just play after play, shot after shot, just incredible up and down. I think Kentucky wins it 93-88.
Oh, did we say that we were going to pick our national champion? I don't think we did. Way to go. You ruined it.
Who cares?
Not this far. We got this far.
So I'm going to start out with UConn and UNC. And the love for the Tar Heels and the state of North Carolina ends now. The consistency that they have had struggled with this year, it's going to be too much for them. UConn is just a boa constrictor. Carolina's not going to be able to get enough stops out of that. UConn, they just look so dominant right there. No one's going to stop them. Give me the Huskies. And then Creighton, Kentucky. I think this is going to be an awesome, a high-scoring game. But again, the athletes Kentucky has is just too much. And when they're on offensively, this is an NBA team. Nobody can stop them. So Dylan, I'm with you. We have a rematch of the title game. UConn versus Kentucky. 10 years later, for the national championship.
And just looking at the picture that you sent of the Edwards dunk, Ethan, oh my gosh.
It's
He
disgusting.
teabagged him,
He
baptized
literally-
him all in one.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Watch the video. Like, it is insane.
We'll have to watch it when we're done here. But my national title matchup, UConn versus Kentucky. And, Cal's got the one national title. Hurley just got over the hump, got his one national title. And in the end, I still think defense wins championships. I still think UConn is that boa constrictor that'll suck the life out of Kentucky. I think they're the one team that can guard Kentucky and really frustrate them. So we had a repeat champion in the Super Bowl. We also are getting a repeat champion in college basketball. Give me the Huskies, and the confetti is going to be blue and red.
This is bullshit, Dylan. You literally took my take. Like, what the hell? All day I was thinking, hey, my Chiefs went back-to-back. Georgia went back-to-back in 21 and 22. This time we'll get it for college basketball. I'm rolling. No one's going to say this. And Dylan went first. So,
That's right.
What else is there to say? UConn wins the Natty, and Kentucky's lack of defense finally catches up to them. Go Huskies.
That's right. So that is our bracket. Hopefully we educated you. Hopefully you listened to our picks, but not too well, because we do have a bracket tournament challenge on the ESPN Tournament Challenge app. It is posted on all of our socials, so please join.
Can Grant make it 3 years in a row? Stay tuned, folks.
True.
He could. It's tough to repeat. It's even tougher to three-peat. And, well, you did. Wait, wouldn't you be? Would it be? No, it would be 3. Yeah, this is the 3 years we've been doing it. So
hold on. Do I hold the fate of the Kansas City Chiefs in this bracket for this next year?
No pressure or nothing, Grant.
Oh shit!
The problem is our brackets are very, very similar.
Very similar.
It could come down to tiebreakers. But anyways, go join our ESPN Tournament Challenge. 3 Guys Talking Ball bracket challenge. It's free to join. Winner is going to get a $50 gift card of wherever they want. So if they want Chipotle, they can get Chipotle. If they want, I don't know, wherever Ethan eats. I'm sure Deja Vu gives out $50 gift card. If you want that, go ahead. We'll make her work here. So go join. And before we wrap up the show here, we're going to kick it over to Ethan for his curveball of the week.
So, as you guys know, got a new car today. Hip, hip, hooray. What is your least favorite feature on a car that you bought?
Ooh.
If it doesn't have auto start. Yep.
Okay.
That's what it is. Yep. No auto start. And if you don't have enough garage stalls to keep it in, so you have to actually go out and start it. That's me for sure, definitely.
I don't know if this is a feature or if it's just something my car does, and this is really petty of me, but like whenever I turn my car on and like you go outside in a normal winter day and let's say it's 15 degrees outside, after I turn my car on, after about 10 seconds, it'll send a beep, an alert. My front console, it'll say low temperature outside.
Oh, yeah.
I know. Thank you. I walked outside before I got into this stupid vehicle. I can see my breath and I can't feel my fingers and toes. I know it's cold outside. You don't need to let me know. And of course, it does it anytime it gets below 37 degrees.
Yep.
So if I'm in the garage and it's at 41, after about 30 seconds driving down the road, when it catches up to the normal temperature, boop, hey Grant, it's a low temperature outside. Stop talking to me, car. I don't need to know that it's cold outside.
Yep.
That's right. I thought it would maybe be from your old Blazer, Grant, of the rats fornicating in the back.
I still can't believe. I to this day will never know what that was.
The little bird.
Yeah. And then come back for round 2.
Yeah.
And the crazy part about that is we went to Minneapolis and all the way down to Iowa City in that thing. Up to Mankato, back to Fargo.
Oh yeah, and it worked like a charm.
That's incredible. It made that drive. All right, I'm going to go with adaptive cruise. I think it is the worst thing ever.
Oh, yes,
Big
I
time.
just got that in my work
Yeah,
car,
honestly,
and
at
it
this
is
point-
so annoying. Like, there was one time I was just driving down the interstate, and it just
Yeah.
cut out.
Yeah,
It was like,
Yeah.
wait, there's
Honestly,
nobody around. Why would it
yeah.
cut out?
I don't even know there's so many better things. I don't even know if there's something worse. Like war might be better than this stupid feature. Like, I
that might be a
despise it.
little bit aggressive.
Dylan, if you want me to, do you know how to shut it off? I can walk you through it. I looked it up today. The first thing I did when I started driving the new car is look up how to shut this shit off because I cannot handle it.
No, I think I figured out how. I did it once, but now I might have to figure out how to do it again because I think it came back on. But that wraps up episode 123 of the Three Guys Talking Ball podcast here. You can check us out on all of our socials. We'll be posting the segments of the show out on Friday. We'll be back next week to recap and preview the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 matchups that I'm sure our predictions will go 1,000% right here, which might be good for some of you because you might be able to get a $50 gift card. So, guys, go follow us on all of our social medias, 3GTV Podcast, Three Guys Talking Ball Podcast. Subscribe, rate, review. And thank you again for listening, and we will talk to you next week.